Caltrop is an area denial weapon designed to stop the enemy. The Caltrop is a sturdy, simple, yet effective weapon no matter its position. Its purpose was originally designed to stop elephant and donkey attacks. It graduated to stopping tanks. And now, the Caltrop is your defense against propaganda, polished lies, and manufactured outrage. It's free from counterfeit credibility and synthetic truth. However, inside the walls of the Caltrop, you're going to be forced to think. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Mike Calderese is the Caltrop.
Good evening and welcome to the Caltrop. My name is Mike Calderese. I am your host, and we are your defense mechanism from all things boring ass news and fake lies, counterfeit credibility, like you heard in the opening. Counterfeit credibility is something that you see often. I speak about it a lot. You see that all over. And I was in a conversation today with a gentleman, and we were just talking about the news. And it's like when you look at all the things that they've been wrong about in the last 5 years, from COVID to Russia to bringing in Trump's family members and kids and everything that they've been lying about, that they're still lying about. And we talked about it on Friday with how the media portrays and labels things and titles things and headlines things to where they're completely misleading. Counterfeit credibility is all over the place, from politicians to your news outlets to half the people that are selling you your cars. Counterfeit credibility is everywhere, and we are your protection from that. Thank you guys for joining us. I had an incredible weekend. Little Valentino got baptized this weekend. I don't have a lot. I'm not going to show you pictures or anything like that from it, but I'm going to tell you something that I just found very interesting. Okay. Number one, it was in the Catholic Church, so we got baptized in the Catholic Church, but COVID rules are definitely off in the Catholic Church. And it was funny because they had this. I remember just putting my other babies' heads in the over the thing, and they poured it on him. They actually had us get him down to the diaper and sit him in the water. There was 3 other babies, and there was a little girl, and the little girl went first. I don't blame her, because I wouldn't want, dirty pee water kind of draped over my head. But it was just funny watching when I sat my son in that bath, it was interesting because they let everybody, there was a lot of people in the church, and after each baby went, we were the third baby, they let everybody put their hands in and bless themselves. And now, I'm not a germaphobe or anything like that, but if you think about it, we were using plastic barriers not to communicate with each other. And now I had 100 different people putting their hands in water that I put my son in. Now, good thing for me, I look at it as, there you go, buddy, you're getting all your vaccines today, and you're going to get exposed to all that stuff. I think it's good for his immune system. But it was just very funny how we did it. And then, one of the things that I was thinking about, because my disgusting mind, is when I sat my son in that water, was he going to blow the water up and turn all the water brown and ruin everything? Good thing for me, he was an angel. My son is an absolute angel. He is so good. He didn't make any sounds. I mean, he didn't even cry. We fed him. He was perfect. He got the water poured over him. He was adorable doing it. So, yeah, man. So I had an awesome Saturday, awesome Sunday with the family. But, hey, we have got a packed, and I'm telling you, there's a lot to talk about this weekend. And I didn't think there was going to be that much with some of the boring ass weekend. But when I started looking into it, we actually have a lot to discuss. First off, we have the Mike's Right is going to be featuring the new healthcare tracking app that RFK just pushed. There's a lot of different things health-wise that I think we're happy about, but I think are concerning that we need to talk about. We have organ harvesting, obviously, coming up. Very interesting stories about this organ harvesting. Not saying it's a huge problem, but it seems to be a thing. Very interesting. We'll be discussing it. We also have sportsmanship in the men's races. Very interesting 200 meter final with Noah Lyles. You know, that guy, he seems like a publicity whore, but listen, he's a star. But the guy who beat him in the 200 in the Olympics, another American, Kenny, what's his name? Can't pronounce his name. I have it here somewhere written down. But listen, they went back at it. He pushed him. They kind of got a little heated. I think that's great for racing. I love men's racing, the 100, 200, 400. I love these races. You know, especially the 400-meter relay. These are races that I think are great. I think these guys are incredible athletes, and they should be. I mean, they're known for what? I don't know, a week. During the Olympics, they're known once for every 4 years, and they move on unless they do something absolutely incredible. And then what else do we have? We have Texas gerrymandering, the Democrats leaving the state, Lee Zeldin getting challenged on climate science, Sydney Sweeney, of course, because why shouldn't we? I mean, everybody else is talking about her, and anytime that you want to talk about a good-looking blonde, I'm never going to put down that opportunity to talk about her. But let's start the show off with the mic's right. All right, everybody. You ever notice something? How every new government health idea sounds like it came straight out of Utopia, but it runs like it was coded in the back of the DMV. So RFK Jr. meets with the Indonesian health minister last week or weeks ago. They sat down to talk about health policy, and they came up with this idea that worked in Indonesia. If people just stop certain eating behaviors and we give them a health tracking app, we will get way better health results. And Indonesia had some very good health results. But it's like, yeah, no kidding. You know what else gets you better health results? How about not living in the current food environment where vegetables cost you $6 a bag and a family-sized pizza is $6.99 with a free 2-liter of soda? Now, don't get me wrong. I love pizza, and I like health apps. But if you want to count your steps and track your calories and feel like a better person because your watch told you that you stood up for 1 minute this hour, hey, be my guest. I'm not going to stop you. But where it gets interesting and really, really fun is when the government gets their hands on it. Because I've said this for years. The second the government pays for your health, they own your health, and they will be able to control your health. Oh, you had pizza? You had 2 slices of pizza this week? Congratulations. Your medical premium just went up 200%. And we also replaced your pepperoni with soy-based beet slices because the USDA guidelines say so. And they say, don't worry, we're removing the clipboard. You're removing the clipboard, great, but you're replacing it with a glowing screen that records your cholesterol, your sleep patterns, your heartbeat, your DNA, your childhood traumas, and the fact that you secretly eat Doritos at 2 o'clock in the morning. Everything is rosy with this app until the hackers get the idea, hey, we can make money off this. In a world where data sells, how much do you think your medical data is worth? And let me tell you something. Medical data is like the new Bitcoin. Data is printing money as we speak because they have it all on us. And what they're selling to you isn't freedom, but it's really freedom with conditions. And eventually, like all things government, the maniacs get control of it. Today, it's eat less fried food. Tomorrow, it's run 3 miles or you can't buy gas. And then they're mailing you kale because your fiber score was low last month. Look, if you get in bed with government, I don't want to hear you complaining about it with all the strings attached because they're not strings. They're chains. But don't worry, they're carbon neutral chains. So you should be grateful. I need a sip of water. Now, speaking of the medical world, doing things that make you question your life choices. Let's talk about early organ harvesting. Yes, that's a thing. Oh, yeah. Apparently, there have been multiple incidents, enough that they call it the practice of, where they start taking organs from people who are still showing signs of life. Imagine waking up on the table and the doctor's like, oh, good, you're awake. I was worried you might not be able to get to say goodbye to your kidneys. But it's happening. Now, I'm not saying this is an everyday thing, but the fact that it happens at all is terrifying. I mean, seriously, how is this even a gray area? How do we not know if you're dead or alive? Really? Well, we thought you were dead. Yeah, well, I thought you were a competent medical professional, but here we are. You can't tell if I'm dead or not. And you know what? This really has me thinking, like rethinking being an organ donor. I used to think, if I go out, I might as well help somebody else live. Well, now I'm thinking, well, if I go, I better make sure they don't pull the plug just because someone on the transplant list has good health insurance. It's wild because all the medical establishment had to do was not make me paranoid. And they really can't even do that. Between the bad science, political meddling, and now this, their credibility is about as sturdy as a paper mask in a rainstorm during COVID. And we all know how credible they were during COVID. But hey, don't worry. The health app is going to save us. It's going to track your steps, eat your kale, and if you collapse, maybe, just maybe, they'll wait for you to stop breathing before they start shopping your liver on Craigslist. But what do I know? All I know is we have the professionals and the paid medical pros that really don't seem like they got their shit together at all. But hey, they're going to save us all. That's Mike's right. All right, let's get to the chat. Let's see everybody in the chat. And hey, wow, we got $20 already. Big E McD says, John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only son. For all those who believe in him will not perish. Hey, I like that, John 3:16. Calderis 3:16 says, don't take my organs out of my body because I want them staying right where they are. Yankee 68, obviously, the first one in the chat. And there's my mom going, hey, Biggie, give you $20. I know. I can't really, when I'm monologuing, everybody, I can't read the chat because I'm staring at my phone, reading the teleprompter on my phone. So I have to get, I have to multitask a little bit. Jay Callis says, wow, it's Monday already. LMA, all of us finger that like button. Definitely finger the hell out of that like button. Mama Dukes, American Pegasus. What's up, American Pegasus? Gonna have you back on. Hey, Calories in the chat. We have everybody in there. Hey, Pegasus says, I'm accepting applications to my mountain compound for anyone who doesn't want to be tracked by the government. Yeah, man, this stuff was very interesting with RFK, and I want to get into a bunch of different stuff. I have a lot on this topic, and it's really worth discussing because you hear the ideas of it, the health tracking app. Okay, great. We have a health tracking app. And let me know what you think of this in the chat. I know from my wife says the pre-approval process is absolutely ridiculous. Dealing with the healthcare industry and these insurance companies is absolutely ridiculous. But one of the big problems is the government put all these regulations on these companies. So they have to go through all these hoops and all this bullshit in order just to deliver some healthcare. And it costs an incredible amount of money on just the administration end of it. So this is RFK. I'm going to start off right here before we get into a lot of it. But this is RFK on a healthcare database, Trump and RFK.
But thanks to this announcement, healthcare providers across the country will also finally be able to kill the clipboard. It's an expression that's used, capital, with a capital C, kill the clipboard. Instead of filling out the same tedious paperwork at every medical appointment, patients will simply be able to grant their doctors access to their records at the push of a button, just a button, and you're all set, and all the information the doctor needs will be immediately transmitted.
So now that I don't see a problem with. Hey, we should have some type of database where I think these people could access to where you don't have to go through all this bullshit, fill this out. You have to remember every single medicine you're on and all this crap. Why can't it just be transferred? Hey, you're in there, you upload all their stuff. It goes into a nice little file. I think that could streamline a lot of things. Then it goes further because the government always has to go further because they have to save money. And one of the things that does bother me about this healthcare stuff that goes past this, right? That's a healthcare database. Hey, you have your stuff on. There you go. Well, now this is RFK.
About 3 weeks ago, I met with the Indonesian health minister. And Indonesia today is regarded as the highest flourishing nation on earth. Since 1990, it has increased the lifespan of its women by 8 years, of its men by 9 years. There's no country that has a record like that. And there are two major innovations that allowed them to achieve that extraordinary outcome. And one of those was to disincentivize people from eating processed foods. Oh, you are paid not to eat processed foods, and you are penalized for eating processed foods.
I'm going to stop it here. Did you hear that? Did you guys hear that? This is something that he's touting, and the way he says it, and in a scratchy ass voice, and standing next to Trump, you're gonna have MAGA base like, yes, 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 yes. We want Maha, Maha, Maha. Well, Maha, let me ask you this very serious question: do you want to disincentivize eating processed foods by punishment? Because that's what he just said. That's what he just proposed. In Indonesia, they set this up where in some cases they punished you for eating this type of stuff. Eventually it's going to lead to it just being disappeared or being banned. But that's what this is what RFK is saying. And now, I told you guys very early on, I'm going to bring you the things that I like, and I'm going to bring the things that I didn't like. I don't mind the database, and I don't really mind this app. But is the app going to start punishing you if you do buy things? Is it going to be to the point where you have all of your money and your bank account's going to be linked to your health app, and it knows what you're buying, how you're buying it, and then the app adjusts, and then you have some AI overlord telling you what you need to be eating, what you don't need to be eating? Can everybody think that this is so far-fetched and it's too far for outside the realm of human possibility? All this AI, we're making it like it's our human companion. When is it to where AI is then going to be running our lives through the government? When does this happen? Because you get set up for this app that they want. And let's listen a little further.
Innovation that really transformed Indonesia was allowing people control of their individual health records. He showed me the app that they use that everybody in Indonesia has. And it shows your height, your weight, your blood type, your BMI, your cardiac markers, your diabetes markers, your cholesterol, and any kind of individualized treatments that you had. So if you go to a doctor in another town, he doesn't do what we have to do here, which is to sit there with a clipboard and a fax machine in order to get your health records. It's available, and it allows them to give better treatment. It also allows you to make better choices over your life. And there's other apps like Yaka in Indonesia that allow you to choose good foods when you go to the grocery store. So you can turn your app on your phone, and you can get full information of those foods. Well, now
So I'm going to stop that right there again. I pay attention to the little words that he says. The app is going to allow you to choose good foods. The app and their policy is going to allow you to use good foods. Did you hear these words? Because inside all of this happiness, fluff, horseshit, and about how wonderful this app is, it's going to tell you everything about you, including your cholesterol, where many people debate where that high cholesterol line really lives. And I'm not a doctor, so I'm not even going to get into it. All I know is there's doctors that don't agree that 200's the number. But this app is going to allow you to eat the right foods. You know, I know maybe it's me that's going too much into how these guys speak, but I always err on the side of, when you start using these type of words, somebody else is going to use them and take them to the extreme. I don't care where something starts. Where something starts doesn't matter. This app can be started in such really perfect conditions and with the best of intentions. And then when assholes get their hands on it, it goes to shit. My dad was talking about a situation in one of his groups. Now, I'm not going to get into it all, but it was ran really good by one guy for a very long time. Then another guy took it and it was run really well by another guy. Then one guy got his hands on it and didn't listen to people telling him that things were going wrong, and it ruined it. And it canceled the entire event because one guy got their hands on it and completely destroyed everything. And we're seeing this stuff over and over and over and over and over again. Let me finish up with this app here.
you have your medical records, you can get personalized advice. And that app will also give you advice about a better alternative. So we're going to be able to, we met, Dr. Oz and I met with the former Prime Minister Rudd of Australia just before, just after the election during the transition phase. And he, after his retirement as Prime Minister, he ran a commission to reorganize the Australian health system, and they revolutionized it, and they vastly improved health in Australia. And he said the single thing that he did that was most important to that transformation was the transparency that occurs when people control their own health records, because it gives people the choice over their own health decisions and over their own lives, and it gives them a sense of responsibility and allows them to measure the interventions. If they change their diet, if they change their exercise, it can show you how many steps you took today. It can tell you if your glucose is spiking. And all of that information will now be available to American citizens. 60 years ago today, we passed Medicaid and Medicare in this country. And we have 60 CEOs in this room of these extraordinary companies, some of which the president just mentioned, that have all agreed voluntarily to start sharing information. President Trump, during his first term, passed the interoperability rule. And it was intended to do this. For 20 years, the federal government has been trying to do this. Everybody recognizes it's absolutely critical innovation for us advancing the health of American citizens, to give them responsibility and to give them control over their own healthcare choices.
So I don't get a number of different things here. I like what he's saying, right? But the devil is always, like I said, in the details. And there's a lot of things I wrote down. Improved health. The single thing, the most approved thing in Australia was health transparency. And he said what it gave people was a choice over their lives. I think people have a choice over their own health now. We have these things now. There's Apple. All he's talking about is what an Apple Watch or a Samsung Watch has done for the last how many, 10 years? You could track your steps and know your heart rate and see this and see that on your phone forever. These apps have existed forever. I get it. Now, why is the government making you want to have their own little app? Why is that? Now, listen, I'm all for if you get in bed with the government and you need their money, if they're paying for it, unfortunately, you're going to have to abide by their rules. So eventually, they're going to be controlling you through that app. And if that's what you sign up for, I don't really give a shit. You've already given up your rights. Or for someone like me who doesn't want to do it, or the people that have paid into like the Medicare system or Medicare system for how long, now they're older, should they be beholden to this as well? I don't know. Very interesting. Let's get to some of the chat here. PT Pod says, let's go. What's up, Mike? PT Pod. Big E McD says, your organs can't save someone's life. Maybe he's trying to say your organs could save someone's life, so why not? Your organs and body is not yours when you die. We are vessels. Bullshit. Bullshit. Okay? I took a long time developing my inners. All right? They were given to me. They were mine. All right? And then they're going to go back into the ground. I don't care if worms eat it, but that's called the circle of life. All right. But no, listen, God's honest truth is I think I'm an organ donor, and I'm not saying it happens all the time, and I'm really not worried about that. But the fact that you do have this type of incompetence, and listen, I think I have some numbers on this. Let's check these guys out because this is very interesting here. Let's see. HRSA examined 351 cases where organ donation was authorized but not completed. Identifying issues of those, 73 patients showed neurological signs incompatible with organ donation, and 28 may not have been deceased when procurement began. I mean, that's 29 people, right? There's a lot of people that argue they're not for capital punishment and killing people because there are people on death row that are innocent that have been put to death. So, if you're going to take that one argument, you kind of have to take all the arguments, right? I don't know. Problem is that it's a money game. If health insurance don't get money, then your premium goes up or deductibles. You're 100% right there. Yankee 68 says, nope, I don't like this at all. Absolutely not. Big E says, anytime a politician speaks, it's a lie. There's not an honest one out there. Definitely not. Jay Calda agrees. And Mama Duke says, yes, I would want control over my records. And yeah, it's like I want control over my records. That's 100% accurate. I do. And I think we all should have control over records. And I think the fact that we have to go begging for them and waiting for these people to do this and that, and they have to be, sometimes it was printed all out. I think there should be some type of medical database. I think that would help out, immensely. But this whole thing with the app, I don't know. I'm not sure about, but what are you going to do? Let's get into a couple other in-depth conversations.
In-depth breakdowns.
All right, I caught a couple things going on here. Let's go over to Lee Zeldin here, because I mean, listen, everybody else is talking a lot of different things. I like talking about some things that aren't going to be talked about. And Lee Zeldin was hounded by CNN, and it was very interesting listening to his responses. Okay, he is very good at his job. I really like the way Lee Zeldin talks. He's very educated on this topic, especially getting into this position. I didn't know he knew so much about the environment. But let's take a listen at this woman grilling the hell out of Lee Zeldin here.
I do want to start with the fundamental question that's at the heart of all this. I mean, do you accept the overwhelming scientific consensus that these greenhouse gas emissions are the biggest drivers of man-made climate change?
First, it's worth pointing out that all 8 or so images that you just posted on the screen have nothing to do with this week's announcement. What was the 2009 endangerment finding had to do with was with regards to mobile sources vehicles. This week's proposal to rescind the 2009 endangerment finding was with regards to mobile sources vehicles. CNN's been using a lot of photos where they show smokestacks of stationary sources like power plants. That's not what we proposed. Now, going back to 2009, the science that they were reviewing included both optimistic to pessimistic scenarios. To reach the 2009 endangerment finding, they relied on the most pessimistic views of the science. The great news is that a lot of the pessimistic views of the science in 2009 that was being assumed ended up not panning out. Hey, that's great. We can rely on 2025 facts as opposed to 2009 bad assumptions. The other thing, too, is that at EPA, we don't just get to creatively make the law whatever we want it to be. The Supreme Court ruled in Loper Bright, overturning the Chevron doctrine, West Virginia versus EPA, Michigan versus EPA, that agencies like the EPA can't just use vague language in statute and try to make it be whatever we want it to be. The major policy doctrine also says that when you're going to reach something like an endangerment finding and then have trillions of dollars of regulation, that's something that should be decided by our elected members of Congress in passing statute. And if you don't mind, the 2009 endangerment finding, while it's simply summed up now as saying carbon dioxide endangers public health and welfare, that's not what they did back in 2009. They had a lot of mental leaps. They say carbon dioxide, when mixed with a whole bunch of other well-mixed gases, in some cases not even emitted from mobile sources, they say that it contributes to global climate change. Doesn't say causes, contributes. How much they don't say, but it's north of zero, not much more than zero.
And before I even get into it, this is what she responded with.
The endangerment finding. It's a landmark science.
Right, that was the wrong. That was the wrong one. I think that's
zero.
So you're sounding pretty skeptical
then
of this overall scientific consensus that these greenhouse gas emissions are the overwhelming man-made climate change driver.
That might be your way to try to twist my words, but what I'm saying is that we get our power at EPA from what the law states, and the Supreme Court in recent cases have been very clear. So what I was just
let me just break this down for you really quick, because a lot of people don't understand what really took place when Barack Obama got into office when it came to the EPA, right? So the 2009 endangerment finding was basically what she's trying to say. There was an overwhelming consensus of scientists that came together that all happened to be paid by the government and said, hey, guess what? Greenhouse gas emissions are a problem. And they really couldn't determine whether it was global warming, global warming. That's why they changed it to climate change. That's about the time where they started transitioning from global warming, if you remember, to climate change. Climate change was the main narrative because we had to fight climate change. So their endangerment finding, it was the EPA. Because of this endangerment finding, they took unprecedented steps of asserting authority to regulate greenhouse gas emissions in a standalone action titled the Endangerment and Cause or Contribute Finding for Greenhouse Gases, when they did that, it gave them the ability to regulate. So the EPA could put regulations on car manufacturers, for example, that the car manufacturers had to go ahead and abide by. The EPA, due to this overwhelming consensus that this CNN host talks about, gave them the unprecedented ability to go around Congress, and that all got litigated in the Supreme Court. That's what Lee Zeldin was talking about, and he said, no, you cannot do this going around the Supreme Court. And they're trying to take it and bring two different things into there. They're getting away from that endangerment clause, but it's because A, the Supreme Court, but two, it doesn't make any sense. I've been telling you guys about climate change for a really long time, and I'm telling you, you will never hear these questions answered. What is the overall temperature of the climate supposed to be? What's our ideal temperature? Tell me what everywhere is supposed to be. How do we know 2 degrees warmer is not going to cause a problem? I always thought warmer was better, colder. We know we've been through ice ages. What's the ideal temperature of Earth? And then how do you test Earth? I've gone through this with you guys. You guys are very educated on this stuff. But I wanted you to hear that, because listening to Lee Zeldin, I got one more for you. Let me play one more and then I'll finish up.
To say that this is going to help consumers save money, basically pay less for their cars. My question to you, though, is what do you say to people who live in a state like Florida? Farmers insurance has pulled out of Florida entirely. State Farm basically threatened to. It's getting harder and harder for people to get insurance at all, let alone pay for it. People that have insurance, it's so much more expensive. How is this policy, this change that you're making, going to help those people?
Well,
so I'm going to even cut him off there because I want to answer that question for her. Listen to what she said. Places like Florida that have had all these things happen to them, and all these things are moving away, and all this stuff's happening. Lady, that happened under the 2009 endangerment. It's all happening under Democrat rule. You guys have ruled, what, 12 of the last 16 years, 12 of the last 17 years? This is all happening under your watch. So what do you say to Florida? What's going to save you, Florida? What's going to save your insurance companies from coming back in? Stopping climate change? How do you stop that? How do you do it effectively? Is it just taxes? Is it just money? Is money the thing that stops climate change? This is the type of stuff that you guys have to listen to because it is absolutely ridiculous. Let's go to this story. We had the men's 200. Actually, before we even move on, let's see if we have any comments. Jay Calda says, scientist findings always goes along with those that are paying them. 100%. Anytime you hear that 97% of scientists agree, first off, there's no consensus in science. There's no consensus. If it was consensus, it'd be a law, right? There's peer review and there's replication, and it's better if you could replicate it, but you typically don't have consensus. That's why you have second opinions. Who's an expert if an expert has one opinion, another expert has another opinion? Are both right if they're on two different paths? You have something wrong with your body. One guy says you have to do surgery. Another guy says, no, don't do surgery. Do this, and this. Who's right? Because they're both experts. I don't know. Very interesting. And then they get into a couple other things. But let's get into this because this is sportsmanship, and I really think sportsmanship's dead.
He's got a guy who can beat him behind there.
U.S. championships for these men, about the best competition you can find before you head out on the global stage. Men's 200 final from Hayward.
The one thing that Kenny Bernard cannot do in this race, he cannot leave it late. And that's why you see him going right past the world champion, Noah Lyles. But now he has to hold everybody off, including Noah.
Bednarik as Noah Lyles tries to reel him in. Lyles slightly ahead and looks over and says, I'm still the world champion, and a little bit of a push there at the end as the rivalry comes into view.
So a little bit of push, a little bit of, if you win like that, what's the showboating for? I don't get it. I come from the school of Barry Sanders, where you act like you've done it before, act like you've been there before. You won a race, you're an Olympic champion. And this is American in American. You're going to be representing America. What are you trying to show up the other guy for? This type of stuff, I guess, is to get us talking. Is it to be like a WWE? Or are you going to put track and field into the WWE stuff? Is this what we need? Because it is gaining attention. This is attention grabbing. But we just watched the shit where we had, the one kid bat flipping. You have these guys that you are impressionable to teenagers. You are impressionable to kids. And let me tell you something. The kids, especially, and I'm going to say this. You are what they call a black guy. And you are in a position where kids are going to be looking at you and looking at how you act. And you want to act like a fool and let these kids think that's cool and it's okay? Because what do you see? All the time you see adults running into stores and just robbing places because we have very wacky laws anymore. And the kids are learning from it. I'm sorry this video is horrible, but check this out.
You got like 10 seconds to open up this door. I swear to God, I'm gonna break this door. 10. Open this fucking door. I'll call my mom. Call my mom. Bitch, I been knew how to count out. Show 4 out of there. Dad do that. You can open the door. I'm gonna open up this door because I'm not doing it.
So this type of stuff's happening. Now you have kids walking in the stores trying to rob them. They were trying to fill up bags and just leave. Why? You think the kids came up with this all on their own? You think they came up with this behavior all on their own? No, they learned this from adults. They learned this shit from adults. That's why when I see these guys throwing their bats in the air and celebrating and pimping home runs, that stuff trickles down. And then next thing you know, you have idiot fathers in court trying to win court cases so the kids can play in a Little League game. And now you see this type of stuff. We have watched time after time. We've played video after video of some type of kid track and field getting hit behind. Something happened. You have girls going up against guys in sports. This type of stuff, it's getting crazy. Now that was a little bit. That wasn't big, and they had a little bit of beef. I think they're gonna settle it. But here, let's listen to that real quick.
I expect you to call. No, I'm saying if you got a problem, I expect you to call. That's all I'm saying.
You know what? You're right. You're right. Let's talk after this.
Okay. All right. So,
my flesh.
All right. So Noah, you came out here and you've gotten a victory. Clearly, there was a look across, and I guess Kenny had a hard time with that. First of all, to your performance, coming out here with not many races to win this national championship.
Yeah, it was a pretty difficult championship. I've been tired, and it's been rough. Coming out here when you're not 100% and being able to say I still got to give it my all, no matter what happens. That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Okay, Kenny, I think you guys made a little bit of peace, but just for the fans at home to understand, there was a look for Noah, and you gave him a push. Can you just describe what that was all about?
Hey, I'm not going to say it out here, but we got something to do and talk about. That's all I got to say.
All righty. And then how about your performance? You've been running great all year. We saw you now. You're now headed to the World Championships. Just how about that?
I did what I needed to do in the 100s. The 200 I didn't. But again, at the end of the day, I ran a good time. I executed the race. I tried to execute the race 100%, but I didn't quite get it. But I'm happy with the performance considering that I was dealing with shit 2 weeks ago. So that's all I can say.
Gotcha.
So I like that dude, Kenny. Honestly, I liked him when I think he was the one that won the 200 in the Olympics. I think he came out of nowhere to win that. And then, Noah, this kid seems like he could be a real star, a real personality. And he kind of played a very bitch move with the 200. And in the Olympics, you hear a lot of his, I don't know. He sounds like a little bitch to me, if we're being honest. He talks a lot of shit. He runs past that guy. He's staring him down. Then he gets in there and talks about, oh, this has been hard. That's been hard. This has been hard. It's what I would give to have the old school athlete back, the Bo Jacksons, the old school athlete, the Michael Jordans, Barry Sanders, the people that just did it. right? I mean, hell, give me Icky Woods still with the Icky Shuffle. At least the Icky Shuffle had a little bit of class. Mama Duke says, yeah, they stole that shit. I don't know what that means. But I'm just saying, you guys tell me what you think about this, because when I watch the kids today and how they're acting and how they're responding to this, it seems like everybody's going for TikTok likes, no matter what they do. Like, you just want to race. You watch a Carrie Richardson do that type of shit. What happened to her? She gets arrested for attacking her boyfriend in the airport or whatever it is. These type of people, they have a lot of ability, but it seems like they don't have any sense. They don't have any sensibility. I don't know. Very, very interesting. Let's move on to the let's see. What do we have here? We want to do shit that makes me laugh. Let's do shit that makes me laugh.
Shit that made me laugh.
You know what I find really funny is Islam in New York City. I mean, they are taking over that city, and I can't wait till it goes to shit. They were fighting in the middle of New York City. That was not Gaza Strip. That was a bunch of people, and they clearly are making money because they brought all their Saudi money here, and they are setting up shop. You got to love it. Check this out. This wasn't more that made me laugh. This was something that made me go, wow, that this guy deserves, I don't know, Nobel Prize worthy, but like an ESPY. Maybe give this guy an ESPY. Check this out. He gets hit. The bull attacks him. He's just on it like a little bulldog. And he's hanging on for dear life. Somehow the horns didn't gore the shit out of him. And he chokes it out. And then his friends come in to help him. That was that was absolutely incredible. Here was Trump on AOC.
AOC, look, I think she's very nice, but she's very low IQ. And we really don't need low IQ. Between her and Crockett, we're going to give them both an IQ test to see who comes out best. Now, I took my test. I took a real test at Walter Reed Medical Center, and I aced it. I got every one of all those questions right. Now it's time for them to take a test. Anyway, have a good time. AOC.
I took all those numbers. I aced them. I got them all right. On the IQ test, I got it perfect. Highest score ever. I am the smartest man alive. You got to love Trump. I mean, Trump is just fucking absolutely hysterical. Let's go to this one. This is a parody for Hakeem Jeffries.
Republicans just want sexy white girls with perfectly round titties in their ads. We're here to say no to that. Democrats are the party of ugly-ass people. And we want representation, maybe some non-binary Latino midgets, maybe a couple of fat shamikas eating fried chicken and fighting at a Carnival cruise or a Waffle House, or some shit like that. Just any ugly people. If they're too ugly to go outside, that's our people.
Let me tell you something. AI does a better job of talking for Hakeem Jeffries than he does. Because if he was there, he would have been stopping every 3 words. But what are you going to do? I have this guy. This was a Toms River Council meeting. You got to love Toms River, New Jersey. I mean, our area in New Jersey, dude, it's one giant clown show. The thing you notice in our area is we have a Democrat mayor and Democrat council. Somehow, I don't know how. I hope that changes pretty soon, but we do here. Jackson's all Republican. Toms River's kind of all Republican, and they're all fucking crazy, and they're all fucked 6 waves from Sunday. Check this out.
Why don't you shut up?
Did you hear that? This is a lady. If you didn't know, I'm going to play it again. This is the lady with the gray hair all the way to the right. Tell me if she even belongs in the council.
Why don't you shut up?
You gotta give her credit for kind of rocking in the seat a little bit to get a little more oomph on the shut up. I don't know, man. To me, when you get to that, why is it that the only people capable of running for any type of office are just the oldest people on the planet? I don't get it, man. But this is what you see over and over and over again. And these people can't handle anybody saying anything different to them. Now, regardless, I don't know what took place. Maybe the dude deserved to be told to shut up. Maybe. But I don't know. I've seen enough of these councils, especially local councils in this area, to just make me think it's their fault. She looks like a moron, and I really don't give a shit about it. Here's a guy talking about horsehair.
That's where I belong. Don't belong on your head. I would enact legislation that you can't have braids if you work in a hospital. You're standing there trying to give the patient an IV and your hair's dropping in their mouth. They can't breathe, their eyes are open, they're chewing on your hair. I don't know what happened to them. You can't have braids and false hair, horsehair in the hospital. Horsehair don't belong in the hospital. Horsehair don't belong in the restaurants. Horsehair don't belong in the schools. Horsehair don't belong in the, horsehair belong on the horse's ass. That's where it belongs. Don't belong on your head.
Horsehair don't belong in the schools. Horsehair only belongs on a horse's ass. And that's where it belongs. I don't know if that guy was running for office or if he was a pastor. He said if he could make some laws, that's what he would do. But I would vote for that. I would vote for him just because of the conviction that he has. Man, do I love it. I love these people. And I got Bill Maher here. Bill Maher, if you heard the possibly white shooter is starting to gain traction and people are making fun of it. And it's very, very, very funny. And they were possibly white. The shooter is possibly white. If you remember the New York City shooter, and this is Bill Maher. And listen, some of the things he's doing is funny. He is a kind of funny guy. I'm going to give him a little props for this one.
This phrase, possibly white, has really caught on, and people want to know, am I possibly white? So we put together some indications, if you'd like to hear, if you want to find out if you are possibly white. Okay. Here's how you know if you are possibly white. If you find yourself nodding your head to the Wells Fargo hold music, you are possibly white. If you've ever waited in line for an artisanal chocolate chip cookie, you are possibly white. If you ever used the phrase "my cheese guy," you are possibly white. If you're married to a black person in a Subaru ad, you are possibly white. You're probably white. If you've ever tried to heal someone with a crystal, okay, you're possibly right. If you jog in place at an intersection until the light changes, you are very possibly white.
Do me a favor in the chat. I'll read them out. You might be right. You are possibly white if. And listen, that was a good play on. You might be a redneck. We've heard those all before with who was that? Jeff Foxworthy. You might be a redneck. That was funny though. Possibly white. I mean, there's a lot of things that I mean, listen. If you I used to be able to say if you shoot up schools as a teenage boy, you're possibly white. But it's weird because now trannies and black people are shooting up schools, and you can't even keep track of that. We can't even keep track of that anymore. What are you? What are you possibly white? If you eat mayonnaise sandwiches, banana and mayonnaise sandwiches, you are possibly white. If you drink Miller Lite and Mountain Dew, you are possibly white. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And I got one more. This little David versus Goliath. I love watching these stupid fight videos. I'm addicted to them.
Oh.
I ain't scared. I don't care. I ain't gonna do your ass real nice shit. Do me. That's what I like. I like when motherfuckers do me.
I like when motherfuckers do me.
I pulled up with you respect.
Fuck on when if I do your ass off.
You better fucking get on.
For real.
Nigga.
Who?
I'm saying it again.
You want to keep with that nigga, don't?
Look at the size difference.
Come on. What's up?
This is like heavyweight, super heavy versus bantamweight right here. Now watch this move. You gotta love the handshake afterwards. You gotta love the handshake. Oh, he leaves it. He leaves it after. I apologize to everybody that's just listening to this when they listen to it later. This show is definitely made for some visuals. That guy hit him with a right cross and just left it. You know, kind of like he was up there with the shot. He left it out there for a minute. Said, I'm going to watch you lay in the ground and not move. It's Johnny 69 LOL. He says, Kevin Hart versus Shaq. It was 100% Kevin Hart versus Shaq. It's Johnny 69 says, yo, let's fucking go here with the Bloodline Crew playing in the singles league. Tell everybody at the Bloodline Crew what is going on. You got to love that guy hitting fucking right crosses and shit. Let's get to a little bit of breaking news. I guess we have some breaking news. Ooh, check this out. Is this cultural appropriation? Is this a white chick or a black chick? Who is this? That is Beyonce. I mean, that is Beyonce. My wife and I were talking about some of the girls at work on how they would be mad if a white girl wore a certain type of braid, even though the Vikings white chicks had braids. I mean, it's very funny how certain races could say that they have braids, but is it cultural appropriation for a black girl who self-identified black girl who looks like a tan white chick with blonde hair and a cowboy hat? No one's complaining about cultural appropriation with her. I mean, she is. That looks fucking sexy as hell. I got to be honest with you. You know what I want to see her? I hope she had on American Eagle jeans. If she had on American Eagle jeans, that would just be absolutely wonderful. Honestly, wonderful. Have you heard of this, Robot Cops? Have you guys heard of Robot Cops? I was told a long time ago by my buddy Rob Borgstead. He said, Mike, I'm telling you, Robot Cops are coming. This is like, I don't know, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe. Robot Cops in the next 5 to 10 years, Robot Cops are going to be here. Then you heard like 5 years ago they were deployed to Dubai, and then you hear they're getting deployed everywhere. AI-powered RoboCops are now on patrol in Ohio. AI-powered RoboCops. I don't know when this. You know what my brain does? Let's think of this 5 years down the road. Let's think of this 10 years down the road. Let's think of it 30 years down the road. Are we going to have AI-powered Judge Dreds? Where they know the law, they can execute the law, they can determine. That would really free up the system. If we had Judge Dreds on, I mean, our court system would be pretty open and clear. You get judged right then and there. Boom, done. And then if they have to, they kill you. And then now it's AI killing you, and it's not a person. But when do AI Judge Dreds come out? I can't wait for that. Did you hear about this one? Frogs, female frogs play dead when they want to dodge unwanted suitors. Yep, I think there's a lot of women out there that have done something very, very similar to that one. What else do we have here? Oh, have you seen this? This is interesting. If you know the woman, we played the one video of the couple getting knocked out, and the one police chief saying, "Hey, it's if the story isn't what you seem." And the video, the very, very beginning of the video that I saw, the guy definitely pushed one guy, but because he pushed one guy, that gave it free reign for everybody to start stomping on his head. I find that a little crazy. And then knock out his wife. Well, they had a GoFundMe or a Give Send Go set up for Holly to recover from Ohio mob attack. And in 2 days or 3 days, they picked up $264,992. Man, that got over $100,000 very, very, very fast. And Donald Trump comes out and says, President Trump says Sydney Sweeney has the hottest ad out there. She has the hottest ad out there. And let's play a little bit of video on this one.
Sydney Sweeney, it came out this weekend that she was a registered Republican. Any thoughts on that?
That who was?
Sydney Sweeney. She's like a very hot actress right now.
She's a registered Republican?
Yes.
Oh, now I love her ad. Is that right? Is Sydney Sweeney? You'd be surprised at how many people are Republicans. That's what I wouldn't have known, but I'm glad you told me that. If Sydney Sweeney is a registered Republican, I think her ad is fantastic. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
How easy. I mean, how easy would it have been for him to fuck up and say, I think her ass is fantastic. I mean, Ed, I swear, Ed, I love her ass. I mean, Ed. Yeah. Really, I think her ass is fantastic. I said it and I meant it. If we're being very honest, her ass wasn't very impressive, but her top parts were definitely a little bit more impressive than that. Jasmine Crockett says that the new House map in Texas will draw her out of her district. So if you don't know, the Texas redistrict some things. This is the new map. And then the Democrats are losing their minds over it because it's supposedly going to wash them out of 4 seats. And they're talking about, oh, this is gerrymandering. This is illegal. This is crazy. And it's illegal. This is Illinois, where they have been doing it for years. And they've done it in New Jersey for years. They actually changed Andy Kim to have when they redistricted us 2 years ago, where Andy Kim went, and he's no longer our congressman, and we had Chris Smith, who came from it was all one thing. But they've been doing this stuff nonstop for year after year after year after year after year. And we have Greg Abbott. So now, apparently, in order to stop this, the Democrats just picked up, left. This isn't the first time they've done this in Texas. They've done it in Texas before, and Greg Abbott's not even playing around.
Abbott joins us now. Thank you so much. Can you tell us from your perspective, what is the issue? Why did they leave?
So they're leaving, and they've left because they're very un-Texan. Texans don't run from a fight, and there's a fight going on in the legislature right now about redistricting as well as other things. But I'll make 2 quick points, Dana, about this. For one, to run to states like New York and Illinois to protest redistricting is kind of like running to Wisconsin to protest cheese. It's just kind of outrageous. Those are New York and Illinois are 2 hallmark states. They've already done redistricting to eliminate Republicans. But the second thing is far more serious, and that is what these Democrats have done. Just a small fraction of them were needed to break a quorum, and that small fraction is holding hostage legislation in the state of Texas, where we will be able to provide assistance and reform for all of the victims.
So isn't this what they have accused everyone on January 6th of, right? Disrupting a government proceeding? Aren't they technically disrupting a government proceeding? I know plenty of people that were in jail for that. I got a text message from Captain Chris Kuhn. You remember him? When he walked in, he was there, but they tried charging him with trespassing and all that other stuff. We have another guy I know was actually charged for disrupting a official proceeding. This is exactly what they are doing. I really don't understand how they continue to get away with this type of stuff. But they do it over and over and over and over again. Let's go through a couple more. We have 2 minutes left here. Break it. 2025 may mark the first time in 5 decades that America experiences a net negative migration. Wow, that's very, I'll take that, man. Lockheed Martin has reportedly hinted at possessing advanced, unreleased aerospace prototypes featuring potentially mind-bending new technology, according to this stuff. And, everybody was saying that when we had pills. What's this pill? What's this thing? What's that thing? It's new tech that we're developing, that we're testing out. And it's the same thing. What's over New Jersey? The drones over New Jersey. What is it? It's new tech that they are testing out, and they've been doing it for a really, really long time. Kathy Hochul, I want to talk about this a little bit more on Wednesday. Donned a headscarf, and Ted Cruz kind of went after it for him. First off, Ted Cruz, you're a piece of shit. I don't even care. You got destroyed by Tucker Carlson, and you're trying to be somehow relevant. But I don't understand the idea of women donning headscarves. I never understood if I went to a Jewish thing that I had to put the yarmulke on. I'm like, I'm not putting that thing on. Like, I did it when I was younger. But why do I have to do that? I don't partake in your religion. Your God's going to know I'm lying to him. I don't give a shit. I don't have to partake in your bullshit just to celebrate with you guys. I don't understand how that's showing respect by wearing a headscarf, because all it is to me, again, that's cultural appropriation. You're doing nothing. You're not showing respect in that regard. But I guess you could debate that in any way that you can. But I think that's absolutely ridiculous. And what else? What else do we have here? Do we have anything else? Oh, Cash's girlfriend. Cash's girlfriend swears she's not a spy. All right, I don't know. You just see his eyes. This is how he's looked ever since he's got into that spot. Man, his eyes are just fucking wide open. It's very weird to think about. Here's a couple stories here. Former CIA Director John Brennan and James Clapper deny allegations. And meanwhile, Director Chris Wray has been criminally referred to the Department of Justice for allegedly misleading Congress on multiple issues. Newsflash, again, I don't think anybody is getting arrested for any of this stuff. A couple more. State Department may require visa applicants to post a bond up to $15,000 sent to the United States. I have no problem with that. Post the bond, and I think give it back to them to come in here so they can start a decent life in this country. I have no problem doing that. President Trump to withhold disaster funding for states and cities who boycott Israel per Reuters. Reuters was very wrong in all throughout COVID, so I take them with a grain of salt. But this sounds like something Trump would do, and breaking only 23% of Democrats describe their party in positive terms. Very interesting stuff, man. And we have one story. I don't know if I played this on Friday, but check this out. World's oldest baby born from embryo, frozen in 1994. This baby was frozen in 1994 and was, I guess, thawed out and implanted, and it was born in 2025. So technically, I guess he's 31 years old on the day he was born. Absolutely incredible. So there we go, guys. I am a minute over. I really appreciate you guys. Jay Calda says Abbott has issued arrest warrants for him. Yes, he has. He's issued arrest warrants. Let's see what comes of it. But what are you going to do? Send the U.S. Marshals for him? I say they should, because I think what they did is worse than January 6th. If we're being honest with you, and everybody knows I was there. But thank you guys very much for joining me. Really appreciate you guys. Really appreciate you. If you figure the fuck out of my like button, hammer that like button and share this with everybody. We have a very good time, man. Once again, you guys can be your own version of the Caltrop. Don't just read headlines, man. Do not just read headlines. So many times I read the headline and then I read the article, and the article completely contradicts the headline. It is the craziest thing that you could ever see, but people just read the headlines and they formulate the entire story. You could be a Caltrop if you don't do that horseshit. Be your own defense mechanism. Watch this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I really appreciate you guys, everybody. It's Johnny J. Calda, Jersey Abe, let's go felon. Damn right, let's go felon. Mama Dukes, Yankee 68. Really appreciate you. Big E McD, our resident god, and religious man. I really appreciate it. I mean, I'm sure he's not the only one, but you guys are the absolute best. PT Pod, check out my man Fresh Mike on PT Pod. And everybody else that supports us, the Bearded Viking Mead guys, they're on every Tuesday night. Vikings, Outlaws, and Cowboys. And, man, let me tell you something. We have got a lot of things that are in the works. I really appreciate you being with me. This Caltrop is out. Later.